a man knew he might die. He wrote letters before he left. He gave instructions for what should happen if he never came back. And then he climbed into a small fishing boat, heading toward one of the most forbidden places on Earth, a tiny island hidden in the Indian Ocean. An island where outsiders are met with arrows. An island so isolated that even today, nobody knows exactly how many people live there. The man's name was John Allen Chau. And in November of 2018, he set out to do something countless others had failed to do: make contact with the people of North Sentinel Island. He never returned. To understand why, we first need to understand the island itself, because North Sentinel Island is unlike anywhere else on Earth. When most people imagine unexplored places, they think of remote jungles, towering mountains, or the deepest parts of the ocean. But North Sentinel Island is different. It isn't hidden, it's visible on maps. Satellites can photograph it, ships pass nearby, aircraft fly overhead. And yet, it remains one of the last places on Earth, almost completely untouched by the modern world. The island lies in the Bay of Bengal, part of India's Andaman Islands. From above, it looks almost ordinary. A small island covered in dense jungle, white beaches, turquoise water. But beneath that canopy lives one of the most isolated groups of humans on Earth, the Sentinelese. Nobody knows exactly how long they've lived there. Some researchers believe their ancestors may have arrived tens of thousands of years ago, long before cities, long before written language, long before the pyramids. For most of human history, the outside world didn't even know they existed. When outsiders finally discovered the island, they quickly learned something important. The Sentinelese wanted to be left alone. One of the earliest recorded encounters took place during the British colonial era. Explorers landed on the island. They found abandoned villages, tools, paths, evidence that people lived there. But the inhabitants themselves had disappeared into the forest. Eventually, several islanders were located. Some accounts suggest they were taken away from the island. The consequences were immediate. The adults became ill after exposure to diseases they had never encountered before. The survivors were eventually returned. But the damage may already have been done. From that point forward, every attempt at contact faced the same response: suspicion, hostility, and warning shots from bows and arrows. The message was clear: stay away. As technology advanced, the world became increasingly curious. Who were the Sentinelese? What language did they speak? How many people lived there? But every attempt to find answers ran into the same problem. Nobody could get close enough. Even helicopters weren't always safe. In 2004, a massive tsunami struck the Indian Ocean. Entire communities were devastated. Officials worried about the Sentinelese. Had they survived? Helicopters were sent to investigate. As the aircraft approached the island, a man emerged from the trees. He raised a bow, took aim, and fired toward the helicopter. The message was unmistakable. The Sentinelese had survived, and they still didn't want visitors. Years later, two fishermen drifted too close to the island. Their boat became stranded near the shore. By morning, both men were dead. The island had once again defended itself. Then came John Allen Chau. Unlike explorers before him, he wasn't searching for scientific discovery. He was a missionary, and he believed it was his responsibility to reach the Sentinelese. Despite the laws, despite the risks, despite knowing exactly how previous encounters had ended. In 2018, he secretly arranged transportation toward the island, using local fishermen to bring him close to shore. The first attempt ended badly. The Sentinelese responded with hostility. Arrows were fired in his direction. According to reports, one arrow even struck the Bible he was carrying. Most people would have left. Chau didn't. He returned again and again, each time moving closer to the shoreline, closer to the people who had rejected outsiders for thousands of years. Then came the final attempt. The fishermen watched from a distance. Hours passed. The next day, they reportedly saw Sentinelese people on the beach, dragging his body. John Allen Chau never returned. After Chau's death, many people asked the same question: why doesn't the world simply make contact? The answer is more complicated than most people realize. The danger doesn't only go one way. The Sentinelese have lived in isolation for thousands of years. Even common illnesses could pose a serious threat. A disease that barely affects most people could potentially devastate an isolated population. For that reason, India maintains strict protections around the island. No tourism, no expeditions, no contact missions, no visitors. The goal is simple: allow the Sentinelese to decide their own future without interference from the outside world. For thousands of years, the Sentinelese have watched ships appear on the horizon. Empires have risen. Nations have fallen. Technology has transformed the planet. And yet, North Sentinel Island remains almost untouched. In an age where nearly every corner of Earth has been mapped, photographed, and connected, one small island still refuses to join the modern world. Not because we can't reach it, but because the people who live there don't want us to. And perhaps that's exactly why North Sentinel Island remains one of the last true mysteries on Earth.